Happy Bodies webinar. My name is Kristen Colarusso, and I'm the Regional Coordinator for the North Country region. After participating in this webinar, participants will be able to understand the chemical and physical properties of fat, identify the role of fat in health maintenance, explain why some fats are recommended and others are not, help EFNEP participants identify healthy fats, and help EFNEP participants choose healthy fats while planning meals. So what is fat? Fats are organic compounds that dissolve in alcohol, but not water. They're composed of carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen. Fats enhance the flavor, texture, odor, and palatability of food. Fats are macronutrients, which means that they are required in our diets. Macronutrients are nutrients that are required in large amounts, and they provide our body with the energy that it needs. There are 3 macronutrients: carbohydrates, proteins, and fats. There are 6 functions that fat performs in the body. The first of these is providing energy for the body. Fat is a concentrated form of energy that provides 9 calories per gram, and it's the body's way of storing energy. Fat also facilitates the absorption of the fat-soluble vitamins A, D, E, and K. It also helps our bodies absorb some hormones. A small amount of fat digestion occurs in the stomach and mouth, but most of it occurs in the small intestine. This is where lipase, which is secreted by the pancreas, breaks down the fat until it's small enough to be absorbed. Next, the fat molecules are delivered to the body through the bloodstream, where they're stored in adipose tissues within the cells until they're needed by the body. The third function of fat is to supply essential fatty acids. Dietary fat supplies essential fatty acids, and these are the ones that our bodies can't make. They are linoleic and alpha-linoleic fatty acid. The essential fatty acids are important for keeping your skin healthy, for children to grow properly, and to keep your immune system functioning. The fourth function of fat is to support and protect internal organs. Fatty tissue cushions and protects vital organs by providing supportive padding that absorbs the mechanical shocks of everyday living. Some organs that benefit from this are the eyes and kidneys. The fifth function of fat is to aid in temperature regulation. Body fat insulates the skin. It helps to protect the body from extreme heat or cold. A sheath of fatty tissue surrounding the nerve fibers helps provide insulation to help transmit nerve impulses. The sixth function of fat is to lubricate body tissue. Oils secreted through our skin help lubricate the skin to slow the loss of body water to the outside environment. They differ from saturated fats by having fewer hydrogen atoms bonded to their carbon chains. Healthy fats are liquid at room temperature, not solid. There are 2 broad categories of beneficial fats: monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. Monounsaturated fats. The discovery of that monounsaturated fat could be healthy came from the 7 countries study during the 1960s. It revealed that people in Greece and other parts of the Mediterranean region enjoyed a low rate of heart disease despite a high-fat diet. The main fat in their diet was olive oil, which contains mainly monounsaturated fat. This finding produced a surge of interest in olive oil in the Mediterranean diet, which is a style of eating regarded as a healthful choice even today. Good sources of monounsaturated fats are olive oil, peanut oil, canola oil, avocados, and most nuts, as well as safflower and sunflower oils. Although there's no recommended daily intake of monounsaturated fats, the Institute of Medicine recommends using them as much as possible, along with polyunsaturated fats, to replace saturated and trans fats. Polyunsaturated fats. When you pour liquid cooking oil into a pan, there's a good chance that you're using polyunsaturated fat. Corn oil, sunflower oil, and safflower oil are common examples. Polyunsaturated fats are essential fats. That means that you must get them from food. Polyunsaturated fats are used to build cell membranes and the covering of nerves. They are needed for blood clotting, muscle movement, and inflammation. There are 2 main types of polyunsaturated fats: omega-3 fatty acids and omega-6 fatty acids. Both types offer health benefits. Eating polyunsaturated fats in place of saturated fats or highly refined carbohydrates reduces harmful LDL cholesterol and improves the cholesterol profile. It also lowers triglycerides. Omega-3 fatty acids may help to prevent and even treat heart disease and stroke. Good sources of omega-3 fatty acids include fatty fish, such as salmon, mackerel, and sardines, as well as flax seeds, walnuts, and canola oil. Omega-6 fatty acids have also been linked to protection against heart disease. Foods rich in linoleic acid and other omega-6 fatty acids include vegetable oils such as safflower, sunflower, walnut, and corn oils, as well as poultry and eggs. Refers to the number of hydrogen atoms surrounding each carbon atom. The chain of carbon atoms holds as many hydrogen atoms as possible. When this happens, it's saturated with hydrogens. A diet rich in saturated fats can drive up total cholesterol and tip the balance towards more harmful LDL cholesterol, which prompts blockages to form in arteries, in the heart, and elsewhere in the body. For that reason, most nutrition experts recommend limiting saturated fat to under 10% of your calories every day. Saturated fats are common in the American diet. They are solid at room temperature. Common sources of saturated fat include red meat, whole milk, and other whole milk dairy foods like cheese, coconut oil, and as well as many commercially prepared baked goods and other foods. Phospholipids are a group of compound fats similar to triglycerides that occur naturally in almost all foods. And then sterols. The most common sterol is cholesterol, which is a fat-like substance that's manufactured every day by the body. Cholesterol is produced by the liver and is also filtered out by the liver. Cholesterol can also be found in animal products that we eat. Cholesterol isn't entirely the health villain that it's made out to be. It's been linked to heart attacks, strokes, and other types of cardiovascular disease. Our bodies need cholesterol. It's a type of lipid, so that's another name for fat, and we use it to make cell membranes, key hormones like testosterone and estrogen, as well as the bile acids that we need to digest and absorb fats, and vitamin D. Cholesterol is so important to the body that the liver and intestines make it from scratch. What is bad about cholesterol isn't cholesterol itself, in fact we need it to live, but how much of it is in the bloodstream. The body packages cholesterol in two main particles: low-density lipoprotein, LDL, which is the so-called bad cholesterol, and high-density lipoprotein, HDL, the so-called good cholesterol. Too much LDL in the bloodstream helps create the harmful cholesterol-filled plaques that grow inside arteries. Such plaques are responsible for angina, which is chest pain with exertion or stress, as well as heart attacks and most types of stroke. So what causes a person's LDL to be high? Most of the time, diet is the key culprit. Eating foods rich in saturated fats, trans fats, and easily digested carbohydrates can boost your LDL. Genes are sometimes at the root of high cholesterol, and some medications can even boost your LDL. The first type of dietary fat is trans fat. It's a byproduct of a process called hydrogenation, which is used to turn healthy oils into solids and to prevent them from becoming rancid. When vegetable oil is heated in the presence of hydrogen and a heavy metal catalyst such as palladium, hydrogen atoms are added to the carbon chain. This turns oils into solids. It also makes healthy vegetable oils more like not so healthy saturated fats. On the food label ingredient list, this manufactured substance is typically listed as partially hydrogenated oil. Early in the 20th century, trans fats were found mainly in solid margarines and vegetable shortening. As food makers learned new ways to use partially hydrogenated vegetable oils, they began appearing in everything from commercial cookies and pastries to fast food French fries. Eating foods rich in trans fats increases the amount of harmful LDL cholesterol in the bloodstream and reduces the amount of beneficial HDL cholesterol. Trans fats create inflammation, which is linked to heart disease, stroke, diabetes, and other chronic conditions. They contribute to insulin resistance, which increases the risk of developing type 2 diabetes. Research indicates that trans fats can harm health even in small amounts. For every 2% of calories from trans fat consumed daily, the risk of heart disease rises by 23%. In November of 2013, the US FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, made a preliminary determination that partially hydrogenated oils are no longer generally recognized as safe in human food. Trans fats have no known health benefits, and that there is no safe level of consumption. Today, these mainly man-made fats are rapidly fading from our food supply. So why are some fats healthy and others are not? The different taste, smell, and appearance of each fat is a result of the variety of fatty acids and their arrangement in the fat molecule. The length of the fatty acid chain determines how the body transports and absorbs fat. Long-chain fatty acids are the kind most commonly found in foods. Saturation of fatty acids depends how many hydrogen atoms are bonded to potential bonding sites on the fatty acid chain. If all 4 sites have a hydrogen bond, it's saturated. Unsaturated fatty acids, on the other hand, do not have 4 hydrogen atoms bonded with the chain. Because of the different chemical structure, our bodies treat different kinds of fats differently. Because our bodies have to break down the fatty acid chain during digestion, the different types of fats are treated differently in our bodies. 20 dietary guidelines. So with the 2015 dietary guidelines, we saw a recommendation for oils. So the dietary guidelines recommends oils fats in the form of oils. And on the screen, you can see the recommendation for different populations of groups. So basically, they're recommending 5 teaspoons of oils per day at the 2,000 calorie level. And they're recommending oils as opposed to fats because oils are the fats that contain a high percentage of monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. And again, they're liquid at room temperature. Although oils are not a food group, oils are emphasized as part of the healthy eating pattern because they're the major source of essential fatty acids and vitamin E. Commonly consumed oils extracted from plants include canola, corn, olive, peanut, safflower, soybean, and sunflower oils. Oils are also naturally present in nuts, seeds, seafood, olives, and avocados. The fat in some tropical plants, such as coconut oil, palm kernel oil, and palm oil, are not included in the oils category because they do not resemble other oils in their composition. Specifically, they contain a higher percentage of saturated fat than other oils. As you can see, dietary fats are composed of a mix of polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, and saturated fatty acids in varied proportions. For example, most of the fatty acids in butter are saturated, but it also contains some monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fatty acids. Oils are mostly unsaturated fatty acids, though they have small amounts of saturated fatty acids. Avocados and olives are part of the vegetable group. Nuts and seeds are part of the protein group. These foods are also high in oils. Soft margarine, mayonnaise, and salad dressings are mainly oil and are not considered to be part of any food group. Oils are not a food group, but they do provide essential nutrients, and therefore they're included in the USDA recommendations for what to eat. Please note that only a small amount of oils is recommended. Eat fish twice a week. The 2015 dietary guidelines also recommends eating fish twice a week. The benefits of eating fish come from the omega-3 fatty acids. Fish oil supplements are popular, but they're not as beneficial as eating steamed or broiled fish. There's evidence showing that people eating fish twice a week over a long period of time are less likely to have heart disease. The monounsaturated fatty acids and polyunsaturated fatty acids found in fish, nuts, and vegetable oils do not raise your LDL or bad cholesterol levels in your blood. And fish that are high in omega-3 fatty acids include salmon, mackerel, tuna, sardines, and bluefish. So how do I know where to look for fats? The type of fat does matter, so choosing fats with a healthy unsaturated fat, such as fish, nuts, and most plant oils, as well as limiting foods high in saturated fat, is what we recommend. Also, try to avoid foods with trans fats. So the trans fat can be tricky, and the best way to tell if a trans fat is present is to read the ingredient list. And if the phrase partially hydrogenated oil appears, then trans fats are lurking in the ingredients somewhere. When the nutrition facts label says a food contains 0 grams of trans fat but includes partially hydrogenated oil in the ingredient list, it means the food contains trans fat but less than half a gram of trans fat per serving. If you're concerned about fats in your favorite food, here are some recommended substitutions. Instead of whole milk, per 1 cup, you can use 1 cup of fat for your low-fat milk and add 1 tablespoon of liquid vegetable oil if you need the extra fat for a recipe or something that you're cooking. Instead of sour cream, you could use low-fat unsalted cottage cheese combined with low-fat or fat-free yogurt. Or you could just use a fat-free sour cream. And another one is that instead of using a whole egg, you could use 2 egg whites or choose a commercially made cholesterol-free egg substitute. Chips. Try baked tortilla chips, or even bake your own tortillas. Instead of a devil's food cake, enjoy angel food cake instead. And instead of ice cream bars, frozen fruit bars are a great substitution. When it comes to eating out, stay away from your cream-based soups and try broth-based soups instead with lots of vegetables. Peel and eat shrimp is a good substitution for buffalo chicken wings, and instead of a fried chicken sandwich, try a grilled chicken sandwich instead. Now let's test your knowledge. Which food is healthier, olive oil or cheese? If you answered olive oil, you were correct. Olive oil is high in monounsaturated fats, while cheese is high in saturated fat. Let's try another one. Which fish are a good source of omega-3 fatty acids? Tilapia or salmon? If you chose salmon, you are correct. Fish high in omega-3 fatty acids include salmon, mackerel, tuna, sardines, and bluefish. Okay, one more. True or false? All dietary fats are composed of a mix of polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, and saturated fatty acids. If you chose true, you were correct. The only thing that changes is the proportion of different fats in foods, but all dietary fats are indeed a mix of polyunsaturated, monounsaturated, and saturated fatty acids. So the guidance that we will provide to our participants is to limit oils to balance a total calorie intake, eat fish twice a week, and make sure to reinforce with our participants that while consuming some oil is needed for health, oils still contain calories. In fact, oils and solid fats both contain about 120 calories per tablespoon. Sources of healthy fats are oily cold water fish such as salmon and tuna, plant sources like avocados and nuts, and vegetable oils such as olive, canola, soybean, and cottonseed oils. These fats promote heart health because they lower cholesterol levels, and they may even fight chronic inflammation, which can contribute to heart disease. It's okay to get up to 35% of your daily calories from fat, as long as most of it comes from sources like these. You want to limit your saturated fats. Typical sources of saturated fat include animal products such as red meat, whole-fat dairy products, and eggs, and also a few vegetable oils such as palm oil, coconut oil, and cocoa butter. Saturated fat can increase your levels of bad LDL cholesterol, but it has some benefits too. It lowers triglycerides and nudges up levels of good HDL cholesterol. The role of saturated fat in heart disease is currently under debate, but for now, it's best to limit your intake of saturated fat-rich foods. And to avoid trans fats. Trans fats are found in many commercial baked goods, processed foods, solid margarines, and deep-fried restaurant foods. These foods have no nutritional value, and we know for certain that they are bad for our heart health. Trans fats increase LDL cholesterol and triglyceride levels while reducing levels of HDL cholesterols. So recently, the FDA banned trans fats from the U.S. food supply, and the phasing out process is expected to take 3 years. So this is encouraging, and we should be seeing less and less of them on the market. And again, eat fish twice a week for heart health. Okay. Following are the sources of information from this presentation. Thank you very much for attending this webinar. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have at kec47@cornell.edu. Thank you.